think you're right.
The mics are live. The mics are hot.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Oh, like,
Take it back.
take it back. You take it back. Why would you guys believe this? 2 days off? It's kind of wild. What is everybody? Welcome to the DNVR Nuggets Podcast.
Let's go.
Presented by Bet365. Never ordinary. Certainly not today. We got a Monday show for you. 2 days off. You guys want to know something? Today, Nuggets practice. Almost certainly the last practice of the year.
Wow.
Did you know that? No 2 days off for between now and the rest of the season.
Oh, I thought you meant there was a massive leak in the roof that rendered the practice facility unusable.
Yeah. You're thinking of the last time there was no practice.
That was last season.
Yeah, dude, they patched the roof, bro. You're bringing up old stuff.
I'm sorry.
What if it was like Red Hawk? Called him out there. They get out there.
Dude, the ultimate homies.
The ultimate homies. No, but we had some Nuggets practice today, guys. Had some bangers. The number one quote of the season came out of practice today. The number one quote in my book came out of practice today. You'll never believe who said it. We're also going to give some hangover takes. I have some hangover takes, actually some real hangover takes today that I'm excited to get to. And then also we're going to look around the association because I don't know if you watched over the weekend, but the Boston Celtics looked really good.
Yeah, people have mentioned that.
We're also going to talk about the playoff rotation. Does Justin Holiday have a place in it? To help me with all of that, the man on Safari, Brendan Vogt.
Exquisite vibes at practice today, fellas. Felt like the last, it was last day of school, and everyone's kind of feeling loose and it's just like chill and the teachers aren't really doing their jobs. Kind of had that vibe. But I have real takes. Out of practice for once. I'm excited to get into it.
Over here, I got D-line.
That makes it sound like they're ready to take the rest of the season off.
Yeah, I was going to say, that doesn't sound good at all.
School vibes.
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, last day of talking to us vibes. Is
Oh, man, those are good vibes.
Yeah.
Those are good
Like
vibes.
a really good Odyssey of the Mind Club meeting or something where they're all excited because they're going to do homework, or something. And then over here, the man with the wind in his hair. Wait, Bill Simmons' favorite Nuggets reporter. Harrison
The
Wind.
Nuggets guy.
According to Bill Simmons.
I want to start this show by giving a shout out to LeBron James, who won Player of the Week in the NBA. So congrats to him.
Is that true?
Yeah, you didn't see?
Well, he scored his 40,000th.
NBA
Oh my God,
Player of the Week.
A sentimental player of the week?
I think we could call it a pity Player of the Week award.
Oh my God. You got to be kidding me. This actually bothers me.
You know who was robbed? Michael Porter Jr.
Oh, okay. Well,
We're off the rails already.
I just wanted to shout out LeBron. Hell of an accomplishment.
I thought you were going to say yoke. But
Hell no, man.
Yeah. Player of the Week, LeBron James.
Are you bothered by this at all? Like, that's always been, that's never been a historical award.
First off, I need a full breakdown on who votes on the Player of the Week,
He had that
how
great
many
fourth
people
quarter.
there are, what type of person is voting. Are these executives? Are these coaches? Are these just random people that work in the NBA offices whose job it is to vote for Player of the Week?
Did Clutch Sports have a vote?
Yeah, I need some insight
Yeah, I know.
into how the voting is done for Player of the Week and Player of the Month.
Anytime you beat Washington in
We need to
overtime,
peel back the curtain on
anytime
this.
you lead your team to a win over Washington, you just got. It's impressive what he did.
Oh my God.
Whatever. He did have a 21-point fourth quarter. We'll pretend it was just because of that. Let's get to practice. A lot of stuff from practice today, as I mentioned, and probably the last practice of the season for the Nuggets. I have to imagine Michael Malone was in a good mood. His team is playing incredibly, Win.
Yeah.
I'll
I wasn't at practice.
Yeah, I'll take over
sorry.
this one.
Throw it over here.
No, it's cool.
I apologize.
No, that's just safe assumption for what it's worth. But today we're going to do it
Hand
this
this
way.
one over to Brendan Vogt, please.
Malone was in a good mood. I will say we got maybe more significant quotes from the players than Malone today, but I'll start
Start with Malone. Warm us up.
Who absolutely loved to learn that Justin Holiday's nickname is the Fireman.
Who told him? You?
I did.
Hell yeah.
And
Thank you for telling him.
he loved it, and he couldn't get enough of it. And somehow I feel like that's going to influence the rotations going forward.
Oh, no.
I don't know.
Dude, you should tell him
He's
that.
like, wait, he can put out fires?
You should tell him that Jalen Pickett's
Wait a
nickname is the policeman, and then he'll get in every game.
Yeah,
That's a good point. It's a good point. But he did have this to say about Justin Holiday on a more serious note. And this was a very Justin Holiday-themed practice. What is it about Justin Holiday that he's seen, that makes him trust him and play him in those spots? And Malone said, he's the fireman. Haven't you been paying attention? And he said, he's a vet. He's proven himself to be trustworthy. You have to earn that trust here, and in a short amount of time, he's shown that he can go out there and do his job at a high level. He can do it efficiently, and he can do it on both ends. You don't have to tell him to do things. He knows to do them. When he shoots the ball, I think it's going in. He said, I was shocked he made that layup. He's not a very good layup maker, he said.
It was a tough layup, too. He actually did a really good job, high off the glass.
And Malone, a lot of Justin praise. He just clowned him right there. He said, he's not a good layup maker. He's a dunker and a three-point shooter. But the serious thing is that he trusts Justin Holiday, and that when he's out there on the floor, good things happen.
Did he laugh when you told him his nickname was the Fireman?
Yeah, he did. He did. And he was laughing when he said, he's the fireman. Haven't you been paying attention?
That's great.
How did you phrase this question?
Yeah, I got to know.
Because I asked Justin about it after his scrum. And he, by the way, knows exactly what this nickname is. We can jump there now. Justin Holiday knew exactly where he got it.
I told you I wasn't lying about this, guys. I told you his nickname was actually the Fireman.
But Julian
Julian told
guaranteed you he has no idea. He guaranteed
Julian
it.
had probably known Justin for like a week at
Good
that
point.
point.
Good
So
But happy to report that Justin knew exactly what it was. And he says, yes, they used to call me that in college because they put me in to put out fires. And he said, actually, my first game, my freshman year, I think he said they were playing someone at Utah, and he was going off, and they put me in, and I shut him down.
This makes me so happy. I'm so glad I didn't know this fact until right now.
And yeah.
Great job keeping that one a secret.
Yeah, it was good stuff. It was good stuff. And Malone was really, really feeling the Justin Holiday vibes. That said, there was also a question on Christian Brown, who, if you all remember, actually started that game.
I do remember.
And the last time there was a spot start in Los Angeles, the Nuggets started Justin Holiday instead of Christian Brown.
The fireman.
That's right. Malone had this to say on Christian Brown. He's been playing well lately. I like the way he's been playing. And we started Justin Holiday in LA last time. Now with 21 games to go, it's also about getting Christian Brown some confidence. And what better way to do that than playing him with Nikola and the rest of the starters?
Bro, did I not call this
You did?
100% on the post-game show the other night?
You did.
It was so clear what Michael Malone's doing.
And I think it worked. You know, like Christian's been trending in the right direction. And then on a more fun note from Malone, I don't know if you guys saw, the Nuggets, led by their Joker, met the other Joker, Novak Djokovic, in Los Angeles.
Oh, man, this is right up Malone's alley.
And Malone had this to say. The thing that really struck me was how engaging he was, how much he knew about our team, how complimentary he was of the way that we're playing, and how aware he was of me having gone to Serbia. He said it was really cool for the players to have that moment, and he said his daughters loved it when they saw the pictures. You know, Novak's a star, guys, and he did for the Serbians curious, he did say that he's arguably the greatest tennis player of all time, one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Can we talk about the Djokovic photo with the players? Would this be a good time to talk about
Kel,
this?
maybe look it up here, yeah.
The one where it's Novak Djokovic, Nikola Jokic,
Yep.
Jamal Murray,
Yep.
Aaron Gordon, and Peyton Watson
Man, what?
is the other player.
There's
in that
one other photo, by the way, and it has Felipe in it, which is notable, very close to Jokic.
Yeah. And then there's another where it's like most of the coaching staff in it as well.
Okay.
But with the players, it's interesting who was in that photo. Because, like, you know, Nikola Jokic was definitely going to be in it.
Well, yeah.
Just P-Watt, Joker, and Joker.
Oh, yeah.
That's wild.
I think P-Watt is probably both a tennis fan, as he said, and then also very aware that that would be a sick picture.
But then, you know, you've got Jamal Murray. Okay, Jokic and Murray, yeah. Then Aaron Gordon. And
That's the guy that went to Serbia to Sombor with him,
Yes.
right? Yeah, that's the one.
But Peyton Watson being the fourth guy in this photo. What do we think about that?
Isn't that the guy that's in those commercials?
That is
He
that guy.
has appeared in several
Yeah.
commercials with Nikola Jokic.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Guys, this is the Mr. Nugget training program. That's what's
Actually,
happening.
yes, he's
Oh.
literally going. He's an
being molded.
apprentice.
He's being molded.
I want to hear
Being
your take
groomed.
here.
Well, first thing I thought about is like how, if you ever hear
There
Novak
it is. Look at
Djokovic
that.
speak, he is so stately. He is so
He
well
really is.
spoken. He is
Yeah.
so diplomatic. He's basically a politician almost in the way that he speaks. And it just made me think about how, and like just how engaging he is. And it just made me think about the difference from sport to sport. In the world of tennis, he's thought of as a bad boy.
I know. It actually is hilarious.
He's like, in the world of basketball, he could be the commissioner.
Yeah.
In the world of tennis, he's the bad boy.
That's a great
Like,
point. That's a
'cause
great point.
like they're like tennis fans are like, I just don't like how Novak carries himself
Yeah.
as he like is the most
Right.
decorated champion.
I never paid attention to that till the Serbs brought it up, and then I'm like, why do they villainize this guy? It's crazy.
I'm telling you, a lot of it is from his early his early career where he was very temperamental and very explosive.
Him and Jokic, the same guy, man.
I'm telling you, there's been so many check marks along the way where Jokic, a young, petulant Serb, comes into the league.
Yeah.
It's where you simply have a chip that is not fully formed into full-bred innat.
Yeah.
And so you just once the innat happens and you then get over the place of like nobody believes in me, then you become like you just achieve a place of Serbian nirvana, of Zen, where that is where Novak Djokovic lives now, just a perennial champion. I was right the whole time. You guys doubted me. I'm the bad boy of tennis.
I can't wait till Jokic's the bad boy of the NBA, and also arguably the greatest.
Well, he's already made that, but for a while, Jokic, they're like, he was like,
Jokic's the greatest of all time.
He's gotten past the simple innat portion of his.
But
He's in Serbian nirvana.
Kinda.
You know who's in Nirvana, fellas?
Kurt Cobain.
Justin Holiday.
Oh.
Good guess. No, he's dead. Justin Holiday playing here in Denver with the defending champions. And he had some great quotes on. You guys remember in training camp, he told us, man, these guys look like they've been playing together their whole lives. And we kind of waited to get back to that. Maybe the Nuggets showed it for a week.
Right.
And Jamal goes down. This last stretch, I feel like for me, it's the first time it's looked like that again, right?
Boy, does it.
And I asked him if it feels that way, looks that way to him from the bench on the court. And he said 100%. He says, I feel like I've been playing with them for a long time now. The culture here, the character of the guys, how they go about working, again, how they care about each other, trust each other. It makes me feel like a part of the family. I can see how and why they want a championship.
Yeah.
He was also asked about this stretch and hitting another gear, as it seems the Denver Nuggets are doing. I think that's fair to call it another gear. And Justin had this to say, it's what I came here for, feeling that intensity, to be able to be a part of that, man. It's really fulfilling. It's really exciting. It kind of makes me believe in the NBA again, if that makes sense.
Kind of makes me believe in the NBA again.
And he elaborates with this, guys, because sometimes you're on a lot of teams that just don't have that edge. Not every team can do this. But this is what Justin Holiday came to Denver for, fellas.
You remember how everybody said the Warriors ruined the NBA? What if the Nuggets saved the NBA?
They kind of are.
Are the Nuggets saving the NBA? New headline, Kale.
For me specifically.
I love that. That's an unbelievable. I love that quote. I love that quote. Here's the thing, man. There is something to. I played pickup for the first time over the weekend with an old group. I ball got popping. I was having so much fun. You play pickup, 1 out of 10 times is the ball popping. 9 out of 10 times it's just like, it's annoying.
If you play pickup, like the ball might pop.
It might pop.
Like somebody brings an old
one.
But
when you get with a group where it's just like everybody's playing real basketball and stuff, it's just so like, you're like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. I think that's Justin Holiday. He goes around the NBA, a little bit of a journeyman, and it's like bad pickup everywhere you go. Then you're here and he's like, man, dude, this is like, I've been searching.
How many times have veterans come to Denver and fallen in love with basketball again? So many times already. I mean, Reggie Jackson last year.
Literally said, that's what he said on our show in the interview, that it helped him fall in love with the game again.
I think Bruce Brown, to an extent, had lost his way a little bit, was playing out of position, didn't really know his role.
Poor Bruce Brown no longer has the light shining on him, by the way. Have you seen?
Well, he needs to fall in love with the NBA all over again.
I think he fell out of love with the NBA since leaving Denver, sadly.
Yeah. Just when he's back in Denver next season, he'll be in love with it again. So Bruce Brown, Aaron Gordon even a little bit, I think.
Totally.
Fell out of love with it in Orlando, refocused, got re-energized in Denver, fell in love with it again here. So it's a pattern.
It's a pattern. I'm so glad you brought that up because listening to Justin speak today, I immediately thought of Reggie Jackson's press conference after they beat Memphis last season. And it was around the time that I started telling you guys, like, I am so sure they're winning. And it was the way he talked about them, the way it seemed like a vet with a lot of perspective on the different ways teams can look, really understood that something special was happening here. And these quotes to me, they sounded, they read, they felt exactly like those Reggie Jackson quotes. We'll get into this later in the show. Not the only reason that I'm getting a little bit of deja vu right now with the Denver Nuggets. But yeah, I think the big one for me today was Justin Holiday. Again, him saying, I can see how and why they won a championship. That's in the air in Denver now. That's not, some people on the outside might go, oh, fluke run. But the people that have been here understand that something real happened last year. And it's still happening right now.
I love it, man. Any other notes?
Yeah, a couple more things from Justin on staying ready. He says, they were really honest with me. It's just about staying ready. I've been in the league a long time. I can kind of read it myself, when I'm going to play and when I'm not. And he says, it's cool, and I'm a person who takes pride in staying ready, but I've never really been challenged like this to this level, as far as going from DNPs to starting. And he said, it's cool. He said, it's cool. I like challenges. I like challenges.
I mean, to his point, that's not usually a route people go.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
But I'm telling you, them giving him the ball in the clutch, like there was that one play, and it's on the list, which is out on our YouTube channel, where Murray tries to get the screen, but they just trap Murray. So they swing it to Justin Holiday, and he has to be the playmaker. That never happens for teams where the 11th guy gets into the rotation, and it's the clutch, and they're like, here you go, man, let's play.
And
it's cool.
Well, that's what he said. Look, it's not rocket science, man. I know how to play basketball. You just go out there and you hoop. And I've done it enough times with these guys now. But I will say, guys, that's a real apparent skill in Justin Holiday, the veteran. To go from DNP to starting or closing, that's some whiplash, and not everyone can do that. So he takes pride in figuring out how to do that. And then finally, on what he's seen from Michael Porter Jr. since the All-Star break, he said, do you mean other than that, how he hasn't missed at all? I just like how he's being very aggressive. Personally, I like how he's picking his spots very well. And I loved this quote, guys. He said, there's not much wasted effort. He's either shooting the three or he's getting to that mid-range. And as a shooter, that's important. And then he said, I think he's defending well, too. He's really, really locked in.
Justin Holiday, the fireman, man.
Dude, the fire quotesman.
Did you guys know that, or did you see that Michael Porter didn't know that he shot 100% from the floor in that game?
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Is that like a math thing, or he just?
No, he thought that. Remember the shot he shot before halftime? That was like a half quarter.
I told you he thought he was getting that up.
Yeah, but he clearly did not get it up. But he thought he did.
That's funny.
So until after the game, I guess he thought he missed one shot.
That's awesome.
Well, we also spoke to Michael Porter.
Let's do it on the other side. Let's do it on the other side. We got to take our break because we're late here. On the other side, we'll hear from Michael Porter and give some hangover takes. Woo. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Guys, it's Miller time here in the DNVR bar.
It's always Miller time.
On the DNVR Nuggets podcast. Miller Lite, love to be partnered with these guys. Miller Lite, they keep it absolutely simple. Undebatable quality, great taste, only 96 calories. It's the beer that strips away everything you don't need and holds on to what matters most. A light beer that's great tasting. That's a tough combination to find, but that's what Miller Lite is. Tastes great, super light, less filling, only 96 calories as well. The original light beer since 1975. Times change, but you can always enjoy the great taste of Miller Lite. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/DNVR, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces.
Do you want to have a DNVR Nuggets kind of night? Obviously, make it Miller time. Open a cold one while you watch the Nuggets play. And ideally, while you watch your bets play out at Bet365, where it's never ordinary. Every sport, every moment should be epic. Nuggets fans understand this because that's what it's like to watch Jokic. It's never ordinary. You never just get a game. You never know which moment's going to blow your mind. You can choose which moments are these moments with our friends at Bet365, where if you sign up with the code DNVR365 and deposit $10, you'll get to choose between either a bet and get offer, place a bet of $5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets, or a first bet safety net offer where you place a bet of up to $1,000, and if your qualifying bet loses, you receive a matched refund in bonus bets. Plus the NBA early payout offer. This is really fun if you've been paying attention to how the NBA works. If a team gets up by 20, your money line bets are paid out early. Your parlay selections are marked as winners. And it's a game of runs, folks. Teams go up by 20. They don't necessarily win. You can play it safe with the NBA early payout offer. You do have to be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
There you go. And we are back, segment 2. Don't forget to throw us a like if you're watching this on YouTube. Leave us a comment as well if you have a question for us. We always see those. All right, Michael Porter also spoke at practice today.
I've got one that I think that people are going to like. A very popular joke online was that all Porter needed was that suntan. Did you see that sweet tan he was sporting in the first game?
Dude,
back?
he has a good tan. Like some guys don't tan very well. He tans really well.
Well, some guys tan, and some guys, a lot goes into their process and what makes them play well, and there's a lot to consider. Michael Porter Jr. was asked about what really changed for him over this All-Star break because he's been so good, and he said, "I just needed to get some sun." I was locked in my apartment without seeing my son for a long time. First of all, where does he live? The sun's been out for months in Denver.
No, but he's right about this. It's warm sun. He is, dude.
It's suntan sun.
You're not getting a tan.
If there's
in
one thing
Denver
Eric
in
has ever
January.
taught me, it really is that the cycle of the sun and the warmth is so impactful on everyone.
Yeah.
And I honestly think there's something too. You guys know what's coming up this Sunday.
Oh,
God, here we go.
Daylight savings, baby. We are so back. We are so back.
You know who agrees to? Michael Porter
telling
Jr. He says, "I think that can boost your mood."
Of course, he
I
said
got-
that. Wait, he said the
I said, "I think that can boost your
daylight
mood."
savings or the
No,
trip to
just
Cabo?
getting
All right.
sun. I got some sun, so I think that just rejuvenated me, to be honest. A different question, same topic, on the All-Star break. Porter, you might have heard him say this one before. He said it again with a smile. As much as the All-Star break is needed, once you get that out of the way, there's not really any light at the end of the tunnel. He says, you just know you have games.
I feel that.
I get it, man. I do too. I think we all, once we come back from our respective breaks that week, we lock in, and
Yeah.
you know what? So do the players. And he says, I think it just makes you lock in a little more and not look forward to any type of break. Now we're just trying to go all the way to June or whatever it is, the finals. That's what Porter had to say. I asked him if the rest helped at all, and he said probably. When the coaches have told me I could take a game off or whatever this year, I've never really believed that rest helps that much if you're not injured. But that was probably another thing that rejuvenated me more mentally than anything else.
So true, man. So
On the
true.
last 6 games, he was asked to evaluate his own playing. He said, not every game's been amazing for me. I think I struggled a little bit against Golden State.
It's true.
But overall, yeah, my shot's feeling good. I'm feeling pretty energetic. And we're just playing good basketball, locked in, making a push to be the highest seed we can be. Followed up with, you guys talked about wanting to see those championship habits, championship basketball out of the break. He says, yeah, we're building those habits for sure. We're really focused, offensively and defensively. I feel for the most part, we've been pretty locked in. Overall, we're doing what we need to do. Then 2 more quotes on Justin Holiday. Justin's my guy. He's older, but it doesn't feel like it. That's what I always say about D-Line. He has a younger energy and just the positivity that he brings, that selflessness.
All that too?
Another example.
that you say all these things about him? Uh-huh.
Another example of a vet who stays ready regardless of if he's playing or not. And Eric, he's become a good friend. He's a great guy.
What do you think?
Justin Holiday.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah. No, not
The fireman-
not you. That he was just.
This is the fireman, not the old bummer.
Yeah, that's right.
What do you think it would look like when a vet does not stay ready?
There's a lot of examples of that. Don't you?
Like,
feel?
I want you to name names.
Man, I'm gonna have to really think about this. DeMarcus Cousins maybe is like a guy that
He came in pretty ready.
He was pretty
He was
good.
pretty ready.
I just think you got to look at bad teams where guys are checked out and they just don't care,
Yeah, also DeMarcus Cousins was like playing every night.
He was
Yeah.
playing a lot.
One more guys, on Jamal. Jamal had 5 assists to Porter in that last game. 4 were for threes. 3 were for Mike's first threes of the game. So we talk a lot about Jamal setting Mike up,
Hell
looking
yeah.
for him. That was certainly a factor in Porter's big game. And Jamal had Porter had this to say about his connection with Jamal. Quote, him and Nikola were here before me, so obviously they developed a chemistry. And then, bringing me into the mix, it took time for both of them, Nikola and Jamal, to not only trust me, but to really seek to find me and to realize the weapon I can be out there. Now they both want me to shoot the ball, and they're looking for me. I think that just comes with time.
The Porter arc is just such a great one. You saw Yoke the other day talk about, I think he's always making it. I'm always looking for him because I want him to shoot because he never misses.
Yeah.
I do think there has been a real growth in Jamal over the last little bit here where he's actually looking for Mike more than ever. And
agree.
to me, I've always felt like it was as much a Jamal thing as it was a Porter thing, just with that specific dynamic. And I don't know. It stood out to me how much Murray was finding him early on.
And it seems like Porter kind of feels it and sees it.
Well, I think one of the themes to Jamal Murray's season is that he's becoming so much more of a true point guard this year. And that started for me in the playoffs and then in the finals when his passing, his floor vision, and just how he was seeing the game felt like it leveled up. And now he's just such an elite table setter, and he just runs his team at such a crazy high level right now, where I just think naturally when you're doing that, you're going to look to get everybody involved more.
Yeah, it is. I think that there's an ease that comes with success. Like, I don't think Jamal Murray is feeling like he has to prove himself as much anymore as maybe he did early on. I think that, like, obviously winning the championship alleviates a lot of that. You can sort of start to play in a way that makes sense for the team. It's not, you don't have to, you're not looking to make your mark in the league in the same way. So you're looking to just get the best result. And a lot, that's just maturity. That you see that in every walk of life, like once you become more comfortable with the idea of who you are, you're more at ease to allow other people into that. So that it's like, not just you, it's, and that's just a sign of maturity. And it's the league is in goddamn trouble. I hope they know that.
Well, that brings us to hangover takes here. And I'm going to say that was one of my big hangover takes, rewatching the game. First of all, I was glad we got these 2 days off and a chance to go back and rewatch this game because this one was a lot of fun. The execution, and of course, again, that's what did the breakdown on the last 7.5 minutes. It was perfection.
Yep.
It wasn't good. And when you go back and rewatch it, teams go to their late game offense, and oftentimes it's like executing a play, and then a team maybe throws a wrench into the system, and how well does the team read it? Denver is above reading the game. And
they're writing it.
Specifically Jokic and Murray. The amount of micro adjustments they make on every play they run is hilarious, especially when placed in contrast to most other teams. I know later in the show we're going to talk about some of the other teams' late game execution. Murray and Jokic can read literally every situation. And Murray in the clutch, I know this sounds almost crazy to say, but we knew it last year in the playoffs and in the finals at the highest level. Murray's just as good as Jokic in those moments when he's dialed in. So many of the plays were them doing the right thing, but it was going to lead to, okay, but you got to make the read perfectly. You got to not just read the court, but now make the move to take advantage of the read. Murray was perfect. Absolutely perfect on those reads and everything else. And it's one of those things that because Murray's not always at that level, during the regular season, you don't always see it, but when they are both dialed in, it's like you have two Jokic's out there. That's how good he is.
Yeah, you never are questioning the shots that the Nuggets are getting late in games. And you watch a lot of teams in the NBA, and a lot of times I'm just thinking to myself, what are you doing? And these are good teams I'm watching, whether it's Minnesota or the Clippers.
Oh, Minnesota, the worst.
Yeah. Or, some of those teams in the Eastern Conference. Like, what are you doing late in games? Are you thinking about time, situation, score? Are you trying to get the ball where it needs to go? Just those boneheaded mistakes that a lot of teams make. The Nuggets don't make those in the clutch. And it's so comforting. And I mean, it comes from so many things, but I think most of all, it's just experience.
For sure.
They've been there so many times before.
It's why the Suns have no chance. When you get down to a pressure situation, they have no idea what the protocol is. Who's supposed to take that shot? Who's leading it? I mean, for all of the success they've been able to have sort of over the season, they still don't know who they are when it comes down to that. And the Nuggets do over years and years and years of repetition, which is why they're far and away in my mind, the favorites.
What stands out to me, though, is so you're right that there are a handful of teams like Minnesota, we'll talk about later, who doesn't know what they're doing. It's like they're going to have to run a play and maybe you need a timeout.
Yesterday,
yeah, we're going to get to it in the fourth segment. Then you have teams like, we'll say Dallas, who can execute well late, but it's mostly execution on the strength of one guy. Luka is reading the court, and everybody else is just doing their very narrow role. They're not reading the game. Like, Lively sets the screen and dives, but he's not reading too much.
Yeah, he's just a robot.
He's just a robot, and they have three robots spacing the court or whatever, and then Luka's brilliance is doing all of it, and he's really good at it. The difference for Denver is that they have two guys that are making micro decisions, so it's not just the brilliance of Jokic, which alone would be really good, but Murray is also manipulating it. So it's like a boxer with a left and a right, where it's not just like, okay, we have this one punch. It's just you're constantly two guys working in tandem. And then, by the way, Aaron Gordon
Your uppercut.
perfectly timing everything on the baseline that is just like also putting pressure on the defense.
That's going to say that it's an arm of it, right? Because that's Gordon reading things as well. And as much as Jokic has mastered the floater that's actually an alley-oop, no one on earth understands that better than Aaron Gordon. Right?
Perfectly understands it.
Who has literally mastered the dunker spot alongside Jokic. In a way, we kind of maybe remember in the early days, we're like, man, prime Kenneth Faried, if he was still on this team.
Yeah.
So you kind of got a guy that's figured it out. And so it's three guys making reads. And you could see, I mean, it's hard enough for teams to figure out the Yoke Murray part of it. But the and one Gordon alley-oop, I think it was LeBron that fouled him. That was ultimately the dagger.
It was. Yeah. That's what makes it funnier.
You're scrambling just to shut
Player
off
of the week, LeBron James.
the first, the
was the
first
foul of the
valve
week.
of this, and there's more to it,
Yeah.
and that's and then spacing our Porter and KCP. So I honestly think that the Nuggets are as elite as they are in crunch time once again, is arguably the single most important stat in the NBA right now.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Did you guys know that the Nuggets lead the NBA in field goal percentage in clutch time?
So the clutch number, the reason they're not number one offensively is because of free throws.
And they probably shoot like too many twos.
Oh, right. I got you. Field goal percentage. Yeah, not
They're
effective.
shooting 52% in the clutch this year, which leads the NBA.
But again, it's kind of sneaky good because when the playoffs come, some of those easy threes and fouls and stuff go away. It
Yeah.
just gets a little harder. But you know what's available to you? All those floaters, all that mid-range, all that stuff that Denver is just so freaking good at getting to.
Yeah. I think we got to spend a little more time on the Aaron Gordon piece of this.
Okay?
And his ability to master the dunker spot, because the dunker spot, man, it's so cool to watch. It's like a dance, mastering the dunker spot. You got to have the right timing. You got to know where to be. You got to know, like, okay, do I fade out a little here? Do I go in for the alley-oop when Joker's coming down the lane? It's so cool to watch Aaron Gordon in that position, man, and he is so good at it. It's a treat to watch him there.
It really is. And you could think of it this way. The pick and roll, the two-man game, it requires two players to defend it. But no two players are good enough to guard them that. So then it requires the help of the other people. Aaron Gordon playing the dunker spot is screwing with the other three guys. Like, oh, the help is coming from here. You rotate or you put pressure on the rebound. Whatever it is you do, you're punishing the other three. So it's like Murray Joker taking care of the two. AG is screwing up the three, and then somebody's open, and it's just who is it? And you're right. Aaron Gordon has perfected it, and it's so funny, man. We've seen it a million times. The exclamation point is that lob dunk. And if you watch that play, all five guys on the Nuggets know exactly what's going to happen before the play begins. Jokic even gives an extended look. If you go back and watch it, Jokic, when he stands there, you know how he always does the point? On that one, he stops and he looks like this.
Yep.
And he holds, instead of just giving a nod like this, he holds for like 4 seconds. It's almost like game's over with the lob. And he just holds it for a second. They do it. They throw the blind lob because this team can do it in their sleep. They can literally do it with their eyes closed.
Though? If you're ending a game, like every team's, you're drawing up like a three-pointer.
Yeah.
You're drawing up like, all right, this guy's going to come off this screen.
Big shot coming up.
Let's run a post up for Joel Embiid here.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll kick it out. Maybe he'll score. No, the Nuggets just run a lob play.
And AG always scores. The passes are perfect to the point where he's like, I might make this one a 180 reverse.
Right.
Just kind of whatever. And then, man, and even the ones where maybe they see it coming and he catches it and he doesn't finish the oop. Now he's caught under the basket. Gordon is so impressive at that, like, back down straight to clear out space from underneath the rim. He never misses that. And a lot of guys just get stuck there or turn it over. He's obviously feasting off of Jokic's greatness, but Aaron Gordon is a arguably perfect fit.
And it is possible that the Nuggets are better right now at this thing that we're talking about than they were last year when they steamrolled the entire NBA in the playoffs. It's like Jokic's decision making. Is he better at it? Honestly, probably.
Yeah,
he probably is just a little bit better, even though he was already perfect. He's more perfect.
God, if we're gonna get on a jag about how beautiful of a basketball player Nikola Jokic is and how he is completely just breaking the league, but making it all the better in its wake. He just has like more information. He just like sees more tendencies. He breaks down team by team, but it's larger than that. Like the overall scheme of what they're trying to do. It's wild. It's funny too. Like Aaron Gordon playing the dunker spot. It's like a literal dunk. He just dunks it every single time. Like, everybody else that's just sort of like a colloquial name for it, but like
Right.
it is the dunker spot for Aaron Gordon. He
literally
dunks.
is.
Doesn't dribble, just
Yeah,
jumps.
dude. It's like
It was the short corner when I played.
You're right. It was
the short corner.
Right. They're like, Adam, get in the layup.
Yeah, get in the layup spot. Get in the layup.
Get the floater.
Get in the floater. I'm like, I'm there, coach. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, Holiday was really good last night. It raises the question. Playoff rotation guy, is that worth exploring? We'll get to that.
Guys, if you're looking for a fun activity to do on the weekends here in Denver, check out Infinity Park. It's where the American Raptors play right here in Glendale, Colorado. You can get tickets to the DNVR Raptors online. Tickets are $10, and you can witness all the fast-paced, hard-hitting rugby action live there at Infinity Park. Their season starts on the 17th, so in a couple of weeks here. Again, tickets are $10. Bring your friends and family out to Infinity Park. Spend your Sundays at Rugbytown, USA. Get tickets at AmericanRaptors.com. Find more information about the team there as well. We'll have watch parties here at DNVR for Raptors games. We just had one
Yeah, it was good.
a couple days ago. The bar was popping.
There were
was
some really
popping.
big dudes down there.
Yeah. So if you're a rugby fan, check that out. AmericanRaptors.com.
American financing is a very different thing, but it's also important, and I want you to listen up because I want you to save some money. And boy, it's expensive to live in Colorado these days. A lot of us are struggling to pay everyday expenses without reaching for a credit card and seeing that debt pile up. This is unfortunately relatable. If you own a home, not relatable. If you own a home, I want you to call our friends at American Financing and tell them that DNVR sent you, because mortgage rates are lower than they've been in a long time. And last year, interest rates were much higher than they are today. American Financing is saving their customers an average of $854 a month by tapping into their home's equity and wiping out high interest credit card debt. Quick math for you, $854 a month, that's like a $10,000 raise over the course of the year. You're saving. So call American Financing and you may close in as fast as 10 days. You might also be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. Call today, tell them we sent you at 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or go to americanfinancing.net/DNVR, NMLS 1822334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
All right, so we're just going to do an updated playoff rotation, stock report, sort of, so to speak.
baby.
Not really stock report, but, right now you've got Reggie, CB, and Peyton Watson have been the main guys. D-line, of those 3 guys at this very moment, who do you feel most confident should be playing steady, consistent playoff minutes?
Probably Christian.
Why?
He's been there before. He's shown that he has been able to. I mean, that experience counts for so much more in this league than people really give it credit until it is like you're staring it in the face, where you're just like the Kings last year were inexperienced, so they just got bounced out of the playoffs, even though they had that brilliant regular season. I have all the faith in the world that P-Watt will be a guy that they'll be able to count on. But I think that just because he was there last year, Christian's at the top of my list.
Okay. What about you, Wind?
I agree. Christian 1A, Peyton 1B.
They're
Very-
pretty much tied.
They're
then
in
for
the
you.
same tier. I would just give Christian the slight edge.
Agreed. I would say Christian Brown's been trending up. I actually think it started a couple games before the break. If you remember, Michael Malone had a conversation. He just grabbed him.
Yeah, you just had to grab him.
Grabbed him.
Once you grab him, he's good.
Once you grab a
grab a
guy,
guy.
and that's
You just got to grab a guy.
And that's
how
CB.
If you
Sometimes
ever see
CB
Christian
just-
Brown in public, just grab him.
just grab him. But I really do think that he's been
this again.
doing CB things. And this last night was great. This last game, because his first stint in the spot start was horrible.
Yeah, it wasn't
and then he
great.
came back in and started doing signature CB things for the rest of the game. So I think you guys are right. I think we're all in agreement as far as the fellas that have been penciled in to this playoff rotation. The lack of trust award probably goes to Reggie Jackson. Is that a fair?
Yeah, at this moment, for
At
sure.
this
The
moment.
last
That's an
spot?
award.
The lack of trust.
trust award.
I don't know why I said it that
I won
way.
that. I won that in high school.
I would not award a lot.
The thing about Christian to me is he is like, this sounds so rough to say, he's like a pawn on the chessboard.
Right.
Which is to say, like, he has a limited use.
Right.
But it doesn't mean he's useless. oftentimes I think people get into trouble when they start to like, well, why can't he do this and this? It's because he does this.
Right.
He doesn't do this move. He does this move.
Yeah.
And that's great. You just have to use him in that role. And I think that there's something too, like, do I trust him to knock down an open corner three? No. I mean, I hope that he gains confidence throughout the rest of the year and going into the playoffs, because there's not going to be that many opportunities, and he just needs to knock down enough of them,
Also,
or the right ones.
Also, how many bets could you win?
Dude, I could become so rich off of it. But he does defend really well. So it's like, again, he's the pawn piece. It's like, yeah, if you use him for this thing, he's really great, and hopefully over time he gains another little weapon here. I agree with Harrison though that to me it's a 1A 1B situation, because Peyton Watson, same thing. I don't trust him to do everything, but I really trust him to guard and to make plays defensively, and they're going to need that. Which brings me to Reggie Jackson's been struggling. We know what he's going to get an opportunity in the playoffs, but it's not outside the realm of possibility to me that he is less of a playoff impact player than we've kind of expected this whole time. You don't get to be bad in the playoffs as frequently as he has been in the regular season. So, and then you watch a player like Justin Holiday, like what you lose in him is ball handling, but Holiday is showing me that the team can play without a ball handler. You just play Holiday with Jokic, and then you play Murray the non-Jokic minutes, and that's it. You don't need a secondary point guard in most matchups. And so part of me looks at this and goes, it's just been a handful of games for Holiday. It's not like he's been incredible. But I wouldn't be surprised if Denver said, hey, this is not a Reggie game, but Holiday did play 7 minutes in a playoff game, and Reggie got 0.
One of the under-the-radar storylines over the last couple of games is the Nuggets have rolled out non-point guard lineups. And part of me is wondering, okay, is this Michael Malone thinking ahead to what the playoffs could look like if Reggie Jackson isn't out there with the second unit? And it's worked. These non-point guard lineups have worked. You know, whether it's Christian or whether it's Justin Holiday out there, whether it's, you know, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter, Jokic, Christian Brown, and it's Jokic at point guard. So maybe they're preparing for it a little bit. But yeah, the way I kind of see it going in the playoffs is I expect Reggie Jackson to open the playoffs in the rotation. If he plays well, and I'm still holding out some hope that he can regain the form that he had at the beginning of the season. He's also just a notorious playoff riser, so maybe he just ups his game and locks in, which I think is on the table. If he plays well, great. Everything's good. If he doesn't, obviously he's going to have a shorter leash than he had in the regular season, and Justin Holiday is clearly the next guy up to join the rotation.
I feel like one ball handler is pushing it, but I do recognize that between AG and even KCP, do you remember when Jamal was out, they put the ball in his hands a little bit more? Even some pocket passes out of the pick and roll stuff we never saw last year. Maybe you've got enough aggregate, like tertiary playmaking and ball handling between those guys, especially with Jokic on the floor. But I agree with when that'll start. I think one ball handler is probably pushing it. You probably want to feel like you have two you like in the 8-man.
You want to, but I'm just saying it might come to it where you're like, I don't have faith in it, and it's a better bet to go without a ball handler, which we need, but it's a better bet to go over here.
Totally, which is why I see Justin right now as the 8.5 man in an 8-man rotation. You know, he could play. I think he's probably out on day one, but he's not out of the equation.
He just has a usefulness, but here's what I will say, as I was thinking about this very question. He has usefulness next to Jokic. I don't love his usefulness if Jokic's not on the court.
Well, I mean, that's every player, right?
Well, it is every player, but it's him. I mean, when you talk about adding a guy to the rotation.
Right.
And Reggie Jackson is way more useful in a non-Nikola Jokic lineup than Justin Holiday.
But if
just because of his ability to create.
But isn't Murray going to be on the court for all of the non-Jokic minutes in the playoffs?
Yes.
And I'm not sure that Reggie is necessarily a great running mate for Murray.
That's
so
the thing,
this is where it becomes this weird game of, okay, our rotation is if Holiday plays, it's with Jokic, which means Reggie's not playing those minutes. And if Murray's carrying the non-Jokic minutes, well, Reggie's not necessarily great as a running mate there. So I do think we get into the spot where it's like maybe he's just the odd man out. Now, he can make himself more valuable by playing like he did earlier in the season, so he can bounce back from this. And again, I've mentioned this before, but he's the oldest guy, you know, in the rotation. So there is a chance that the regular season is just too much for him, but you get to the playoffs and now he could be his best self. I think that's hopeful. Win, to your point, though, I just looked it up because I was curious. Since February 1st, there's only been 9 minutes without a point guard on the court.
It's been in 2 games. I think it was the last game and then a little bit the game before.
And you're really talking about like 3-4 minute stretches. It's not long extended runs,
But one was deep in the fourth, right? Did I make that up in my head?
Maybe not.
Wasn't there a Christian? I did think it ultimate closed, but wasn't Christian Brown on the floor?
Yeah,
for that
one
Heat
time
game?
it was with Justin Holiday. That was last game. The other time it was not. It was with another group of players.
So I can actually tell you this has happened in 4 different games. It's 4 different games. One with 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, and 1 minute. 1 minute. So it's very small. But again, in the playoffs, 3-minute stretches actually matter. Like sometimes it is. You're on the bench for 3 minutes. You get a 3-minute rest, and that's all you get. There's more TV timeout, so there's more like this or that.
Yeah.
I could see it happening, and I think that there is going. I'm curious to see how Malone handles the rotation, and I'm curious if Reggie gets a second half scratch in any games between now and the end of the season. Probably only because if he plays poorly. But I would be curious if Malone's just like, hey, you know what? He's not playing well. We're going to go to this and see if it works because we might need it later on.
Right. With Justin Holiday, though, I think the biggest thing he provides is shooting.
Yep.
That is his biggest positive right now. He's shooting the hell out of the ball. He's a good shooter right now. And he's going to be on the floor with a group of guys where he's the person who defenses are leaving open. You know, he's going to get open opportunities. He's going to be the outlet guy. He doesn't give you a ton defensively other than just length. He's got good length. But Justin Holiday is not like a stout defender, I don't think. But he can give you some floor spacing if he's knocking down threes.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, some other NBA games happened over the weekend that are very notable. The Wolves, the Thunder, the Celtics, all of those teams had interesting things going on. I want to talk about all of them. Guys, I forgot the Suns. The Suns.
Stay tuned.
Guys, it's a great time to become a DNVR diehard. The biggest reason why it's a great option to become a DNVR diehard is you get a free shirt or hat of your choice from the DNVR locker every year.
Every year, baby.
Every single year. I don't know if you've heard, we released a new shirt.
Two new
drop
shirts.
from D-Line.
2 new shirts over the weekend.
2 new shirts. I mean, the Who's Your Daddy shirt, all-time legendary drop from DNVR. So sign up to be a DNVR diehard, $7 a month, free shirt every year. You get access to the DNVR content online as well. We just published a roundtable with me, Adam, and Vote talking about Justin Holiday, Jamal Murray, looking ahead to the Suns game. You get the ability to read that as well. Plus tons of other great perks, 20% off all events, 20% off all merch, tons of other stuff as well. Become a DNVR diehard. Best decision.
You probably noticed the Nuggets have been on national TV a lot lately. Eventually, things will return to, I'll say, normal, the way you're used to it. How do I watch the Denver Nuggets? I've got an answer for you. Fubo TV, which has 140 live channels of sports shows, movies, and news. There's a ton of ways I can sell this and pitch this. Here's the easiest one. Watch the most Colorado sports for the lowest price. I've never felt like more of a boomer than trying to figure out how to watch TV. I'm not that old. Maybe I am. I don't know. But I get confused. Thank God for Fubo. I want it all in one spot. I want it at a good price. And I want to go to www.FuboTV.com/DNVR where I can sign up for my first month of Fubo Pro and get 15% off.
Dude, there's never been a person in life, the history of life, that asked the questions. I'm not that old, am I, while wearing a Hawaiian shirt? You are that old.
I started young, though, with the Hawaiians.
Yeah.
But I am just old now, so I think it's matched up. I tried to jump earlier. I think it's the first time I've jumped in 2 years.
How'd that go?
My knee is throbbing.
Played the dunker spot.
Yeah,
clearly.
Jeff Green's impressive. Do you want to do the show?
You're starting the old man routine really
Let's
early,
just do
man.
the double show.
You're in the old man routine.
I know.
You're as young as you feel. All right, guys, around the association here, a little weekday,
beautiful.
a little non-game day around the association. Why? It's a big weekend. These games, by the way, the NBA has enough good teams that they're this time of year where they try to stack it with the best games. There's bangers every night, man. Bangers every single night. Let's start with the Boston Celtics. Ya boys. 50-point beatdown. Their third record-setting 50-point game or 50-point win of the season. First of all, my big takeaway on this one is mostly just that I'm so excited for Thursday. There's like a collision
Cannot wait.
course coming
Cannot
for
wait.
these two. But I will say this. I've likened the Nuggets to Royce Gracie. They just get you a submission, but it's not. They don't. It doesn't always look like they're kicking your ass, but they always end up getting you into submission. The Celtics are Mike Tyson. They throw haymakers, and every now and then they make 25 threes and win by 50.
Yeah.
In the regular season environment, the Boston Celtics have the best plan A in basketball, and that's to take and make a fuck ton of threes.
Yeah.
And they do that better. They honestly might not have a non-shooter on their roster. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Like,
They didn't even have Porzingis for that game.
dude, their worst shooters are competent.
Jaylen Brown's a non-shooter according to Draymond Green.
Yeah, dude, it was a weird science experiment. So the Celtics at their top, like at their peak in a regular season, no one's touching that because no one's taking and making as many threes as they do. They can beat you in the first 20 minutes of a game in a way that honestly even Denver can't. I do still think that Denver in the last 5 minutes of a game is better than anyone in the league. And that maybe tells me more about a playoff setting. But like when Boston beats teams in the playoffs, the 3 to 4 games they win in a series, I don't know how many crunch times there are going to be. I think they're going to win by 10 or 15. But it's the tight ones, where the series will be decided, I think.
What do you think of this, D-Line?
I think that they have built a finesse squad, and that we've only seen one finesse champion probably ever, and it was the Golden State Warriors. And the question is the Golden State Warriors had a very difficult time getting over that hump. Charles Barkley famously said that there's a jump shooting team cannot win the NBA Finals.
He was wrong.
He was wrong, but it took the transcendence of Steph Curry and prime Klay Thompson and
the best defense in the NBA that somehow never got mentioned.
And so I don't think that the Celtics have all of those pieces that they need. I don't think they're as good as the Warriors were shooting threes. I think that they are built in such a way, they are most assuredly built to be a regular season champion. I think that we saw in Boston when the Nuggets played them, and it did get tight, and they started missing. That's the first thing that goes when things get tight is the jump shots. Like the big shots are always so notable because they're rare in those big moments. And I just think they're going to get tight and they're going to miss. This is a tale as old as time with when it comes to basketball, and I just think that the Nuggets have what it takes, which is that they can score ugly every single time.
Yeah, I don't have much to add, to be honest. I just think the Celtics are really good. Regular season basketball is completely different than playoff basketball, especially when you get into the later rounds. And I think what D-Line said is probably going to happen.
I will say this.
But they're so good that they still might make it to the finals.
Right.
Here's what I like. They're going to be the favorites. And a lot of people are picking Denver off of reputation and this or that, like a lot of the experts. But I love this idea that there is a team that is going to boat race the NBA in the regular season and become such heavy favorites. I just like that. I didn't want Denver necessarily to be the favorite this year.
Yeah.
And I like that they're setting up this thing where they might have 10 fewer wins than the Celtics when it's all said and done. I just think it sets things up very nicely. And also, classic Celtics, man. This must be the year. The Thunder keep winning and keep getting impressive wins. Yeah. Now, is this beating the Suns an impressive win without Devin Booker? I don't know. But one of my knocks on the Thunder is they don't have enough size. They gave up a lot of offensive rebounds to one Jusuf Nurkic, but they still won. So I'm trying to figure out if when you see that, Nurkic has 31 rebounds, 13 offensive rebounds, but yet they still lost. And then when you watch Oklahoma City and how well they execute in the clutch, the number one offense in the clutch, by the way, is the OKC Thunder. Are you more encouraged because you watch Nurk and you go, well, if Nurk can grab 13 offensive rebounds, Jokic can grab 13 offensive rebounds, and he'll make a lot more of his putbacks? Or are you discouraged because it's like, yeah, but they somehow seem to be above that. It doesn't bother them.
If you're talking about the Thunder,
the Thunder specifically,
the Thunder. I mean, the Thunder are too early in their storyline. They're wise
beyond their years, though.
So were the Kings, man. Like,
No, they were not. The Kings were not wise beyond their years.
Well,
The Kings
okay,
were
fair.
a normal young team.
Fair. That's
This is
fair.
an extremely poised team. Like,
That's fair, but they've not been tested in a real way to this point. And we don't know what they are and you never know what you are until you find yourself in that actual situation. It's very literally impossible to recreate. It's just, you know what it's like just to watch the games, like what you feel like in those
Right.
big moments, like you can't breathe, to actually be out there doing it. It changes everything, and you don't know who you are until you're there. And they just don't know who they are. I am encouraged by the idea that the Nuggets are just sort of like have had like a really in a lot of ways at the halfway point we gave them like pretty lackluster grades for the season to this point, and the Thunder are playing out of their minds, way above everyone's expectations, and they have the same record.
I think they've got it.
it is funny. Actually, it's the same record. One's like, unbelievable,
Yes.
unstoppable, slow year.
Yeah, we're like, but then the Nuggets are now turning it on.
Well, dude, there's something about the Kings have the same record or something as they did last year. But
Right.
last year they were a 3 seed and everything felt new and everyone was excited.
Right.
Yeah, I'll say this. I think the Thunder have a chance of advancing once, if not twice. I really do. I think everything you guys are saying about them is true. And it's actually more than anything why I would pick Denver over OKC. I think it's very easy to forget how bad Denver looked at their worst in the playoffs when they first got started. When they were in the OKC sweet
Right.
spot of fandom.
Right.
This is fun. The future should be better.
Fraud City. I mean,
Dude,
everybody doubting the Thunder. It's like, hey, they're going to be Fraud City this year.
But the Nuggets did have to take some lumps, man. Like Derek White almost outed them in the first round,
Right.
dude. And that was brutal. I'm not saying that's going to happen to OKC, but your best players when they're that young do have to learn how to lose together. Having said that, they've got a lot going on, and for as much as everyone's better in the West, sometimes I watch some of these teams in the clutch and I think to myself, are two teams going to make it to the Western Conference Finals? Might it just be the Nuggets by themselves? Is it possible? How are two teams going to make it? Because in crunch time, a lot of these teams do not look the way
get
Denver
crunched.
looks.
Well, let me tell you a team that you might be talking about here, and that is the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
Man, they lose to the Clippers. They've lost 2 in a row now. Coming out of the break, it's fun to see it coming out of the break, which teams have really kind of changed in how they are.
Who's a front runner and who's a
The
in
Timberwolves,
the long haul.
the Timberwolves have been in the one spot in the West for a long time, and they just coughed
Running
it up
out
last
front,
night.
yep.
And they coughed it up in a fourth quarter that is really the opposite of the Nuggets. I talked about this, by the way, on the All-NBA show. We even talked a lot of Nuggets today. It's in the timestamp, so after the show, you should go check that out. But one of the things about the Timberwolves is they run plays in the clutch. And the reason they run plays in the clutch is because they don't have a two-man
Right,
game.
right.
So it's like we have to drop sets and run complex things, and then we have to draw another one up the next play instead of just being, oh, yeah, we go to the ant-cat pairing, because that's not a thing.
I mean, how many offensive players on the Timberwolves do you really trust in the clutch? Maybe one.
Anthony Edwards as a scorer, I trust.
And Mike Conley, I guess.
As a passer, I trust.
But Ant as a decision maker?
No, I don't trust.
Yeah.
And Conley as a shot creator, I don't trust. He can just kind of get you where you need to go.
Yeah. Just to go back to the Thunder real quick, if they were playing the Nuggets in the playoffs, I would probably take Denver to either sweep or win in 5 games. And the reason why is because they have not just no answers for Nikola Jokic, they don't even have a prayer in formulating an answer for Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic might average 40 points a game versus OKC in a playoff series.
Really might,
He
man.
really might,
He really
man.
might.
And that, to me, is where you have to start with every playoff matchup. And that's why I fear the Timberwolves considerably more, even though they can't do anything on offense in the clutch, even though they have trouble scoring. They have at least a plan. They have a game plan that they can enact against Nikola Jokic. That's not something that the Thunder have at all.
Yeah.
I do think that their best shot, and believe me, I know how this sounds. He's so young. Like, they need a lot of success out of the Chet pick and pop. Like, that's the one thing that they can do that you look at the way Denver wants to play and you go, they're going to have trouble with that. Like, that's just tough for Jokic. But he has to do that enough where it adds up to more than what you think you're getting consistently from Jokic and Murray. And that's the reason why I think everyone would pick Denver.
And the Josh Giddey thing, just the Nuggets are so playoff tested where they would have so many answers for all this stuff already.
Yeah. I do think that the Nuggets should be feeling really comfortable. We don't have time, but Suns, Mavs also on a little bit of losing streaks here. The Mavs were playing great ball. They ran on a road trip and got a little exposed. You're playing comfortable at home, then you go on the road, and all of a sudden you look like a completely different team. They saw some of that. And then the Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker is such a big piece of their team that he goes down, and all of a sudden they have you almost can't judge them because they need what he does.
Oh, I judge them.
Well, but what I'm saying, but the other part of this is, if you remember last year, you got to the playoffs and KD got hurt, so he barely played, and they barely ramped up, and they got there, and it was like, yeah, but when they're healthy, they're great. But they didn't know who they were because they hadn't done all this. I think the same thing's going to happen this year, man. Of course, here we are with a month to go in the season, and we haven't really seen the big three for extended minutes, and it looks like we're just not going to. And now they're even talking about it as if, like, you screw the regular season. We just need to be healthy going into the playoffs, as if there's nothing else you need to do other than be healthy.
As if that's ever worked out for a team ever.
Yeah, just be healthy, no experience,
that's never
ramp
worked.
Up. Yeah. So, I don't know. So, we'll see. Those two teams are struggling. Nuggets not struggling at the moment. Tomorrow, the Phoenix Suns. No Devin Booker. I'm excited for this matchup, though. Nurk has been playing well. Jokic doesn't always take that matchup seriously in the regular season. Sometimes he treats it like normal, but Jokic's been dialed lately. I think he takes it a little more seriously tomorrow.
Yeah, and we heard that, one reason the Suns got Yusuf Nurkic might have been because he gets up for this matchup.
Yeah. Well, he better get up for it tomorrow, so I'm excited for that one.
A few super chats.
A couple super chats. Let's do it.
Bashir, you guys rock. Brendan, I told you the Wizards was the ultimate reset game, and then we're going 10-0. I'm working at Ball Arena all week. See y'all next Wednesday.
Let's go.
Let's go, man.
Nadine. Marcus, greetings and salutations. I hope you are having a very fine day.
What a very polite super chat.
Thank you
good day
so
to you,
much,
man.
Nadine. Yeah, good day to you.
Salutations to you as well, and
Madam.
to yours.
The boy's dad of by the way, you guys had Wade on, so I went downstairs. Boy's dad, last person in the bar,
Hell yeah.
hanging out, headphones on, watching the show.
Dude, he is first team.
Unbelievable.
Our guy.
Unbelievable. A 47th minute dunk from AG is becoming the Nuggets version of Light the Beam.
We need to come up with a name for that play as, the finishing play.
The door slam.
I like where your head's at. We'll workshop that.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, it's literally the perfect name, but okay, that's fine. We'll make you feel like you came up with it, and then we'll use it. What was like a door?
That everything?
Closing it. What would you
hit that
like
outro music?
What would you call it?
Another great day on the show, fellas. Another great show. That was good stuff. You brought your A game. Tomorrow, Phoenix Suns.
Let's do it.
Only 2 more games left in Statement Week, man. I'm gonna miss it.
You know what's funny too? The Suns not a part of Statement Week.
They are part of.
Cool. Yeah,
they are part of Statement Week. You
Come
always
on,
want to beat the Suns.
Don't act like we don't take great pleasure in beating the Suns. Embarrassing.
I'm just saying, hardly a measuring stick game.
Oh,
if the Nuggets win against the Suns without Booker, it won't feel like they made a statement. To your point,
the Suns are so below a statement for the Nuggets.
The statement will be, if we only had Book, and then we'll clown you.
But they've got rotation player Bol Bol.
Oh my God.
Hey, Bol's going to play. Look, Nuggets need to play. Don't drop this one.
Don't lose this one now.
In most part, because I want going into that Thursday it just to be all the stakes. Remember what I told you? The Nuggets are saving the NBA?
Yeah.
Thursday night, 2 winning streaks.
Dude, I'm
going on
a little
TNT.
nervous, and I think I would do it too. They might. We talked about this. Like, I would probably honestly sit Jokic and Murray for that game.
What?
I would.
Get. All right.
All right, we have a day
We
to talk
gotta
about
go.
this.
We
It's
gotta
gonna be
go.
Wednesday's show. I'm gonna have to get angry online. All right,
would
hit
do
the
it.
like button for us on the way out. Go watch All NBA show. Check out the list. Read our stuff online. Later.
We all silly like the mayor.